Everybody. Today we are starting our new unit and it deals with exponents. So just kind of a reminder here that it says the expression x to the power of 3 is called a power, that whole expression. The power of 3 is also calling cubing something sometimes. So what that means is x times itself 3 times. You could almost say x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 1 is x to the power of 3. Okay, the base is the x. So x is the base and the exponent is 3. So make sure you know those terminologies. Okay, also, anything to the power of 0 is 1. It doesn't matter if it's 4 to the power of 0, it's 1. It doesn't matter if it's a variable to the power of 0, it's 1. The only thing is the base cannot be 0. That's one of those special circumstances. So for example, 3 to the power of 0 is 1. Okay? And this one, z to the power of 0 is also 1. It's just something to remember. Okay, now here's a formula. Okay, so when you have the same bases with different exponents, so here my bases are 4, my exponents are 6 and 3. So when I have the same base, whether it be a number or a variable, we add the exponents. So we could go right from 4 to the power of 6 times 4 to the power of 3. So when those same bases are being multiplied, we add the exponents. Same thing here. We have the same bases, so then we add the exponents, okay? They have to be the same bases though. Okay, so think about this. Coefficients are the big numbers out front. Those also can have exponents. We're going to put those out front. So 6 comes out front. Then, and if you want to put a 1 there, you still have that m to the power of 3 times m to the power of 5. So that just means 6 to the power of 1, and then add the exponents. So my final answer would be 6m to the 8th. Okay, you might want to write that down. Whoops, sorry. Now this one's kind of the same thing if you need to put it there. Okay, so that would be like saying 2 to the power of 1 times x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 4. So that would be 2x to the power of 2 plus 4 is 6. Okay, now if there were x's and y's, no, we don't add exponents. Only when the base is the same. Okay, the other one is, what if we have right here a power to a power? Okay, the base stays the same and we multiply those exponents. So do you see how I'm getting 18? So the 4 stays the same. So the rule is the base stays the same and then you multiply these exponents together. That's called power to the power to a power, or product power of a product, okay? Okay, I'm going to move this up a bit. So do you see that, again, for these, sometimes you put a little 1 there. You need to distribute that exponent to both the 1 and the 2, okay? Because there's a little 1 there as well, okay? So same thing here. There's a little 1 and a little 1. So you would have to apply that m to both of the powers. Again, I'm going to go back here. Again, even for coefficients, 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 times 1 is 5. So that's how you would do that. You distribute that almost into both terms. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to put a little 1 here. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute that there, power to a power, a to the power of 4 times 3 is 12, times 2 to the power of 3 times 1 is 3. And remember, there's also a little 1 here. So a to the power of 1 times 3. And now, what is 2 to the power of 3? That's 2 times 2 times 2. So this gives me 8. And now I'm going to add my exponents, 12 plus 3, because it's the same basis. So that's 8a to the 15. Okay, think about that for a minute. Okay, next. Whoops, sorry, did it again. Okay, so what you're going to do, anything that doesn't have an exponent showing, I'm going to write a 1 by it so I don't forget. Okay, so now I can distribute this 2 into there, 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 and there, meaning I multiply it times each exponent. So I have 4 to the power of 2, x to the power of 4 when I distribute that, times 2 to the power of 1 times 2, and x to the power of 2 times 6. Okay, now 4 squared is 16, and I'm going to put this next to it. 2 squared is 4. Okay, next I'm going to say x to the power of 4, x to the power of 12. Okay, now 16 times 4 in my calculator is 64. And then add my exponents, that would be to the power of 16. That's what I get. Okay? Okay, think about that. This is a tricky one. Okay, you distribute, and when I put 1s here, and what I notice is I'm distributing a 0, which makes everything to the power of 0. So what is anything to the power of 0? 1. That's a tricky one. It's almost too easy. Okay, so here, first thing, distribute this 2 in here. So it's really k to the power of 4 times k to the power of 8. Now, I don't really need those in parentheses if I just want to write it like this. And now, because I have k's as both of my bases, I just add my exponents and I get k to the power of 12. Okay, let's look here. Okay, first thing I want you to do is look at this whole thing. This whole thing to the power of 0 actually becomes 1. Okay, and then you still have x squared to the 3rd. Okay, now that becomes x, 1 to the power of 3 times x to the power of 6. 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1, x to the 6th. Take your time when you're doing this. Okay, so again, anywhere that I see a power to a power, I write a 1, so I don't forget to distribute it. So this becomes y to the power of 2, x to the power of 6. And then this isn't a power to a power, so I'm just going to copy that down, but I'm going to remember to put those y's there. Okay, now the 3 is only a 3 to the power of 1. That goes out front. Now x, do you see I have x to the power of 6 here and x to the power of 1. Add those together gives you 7. And then here I have y squared and y to the 1st. So that becomes 2 plus 1, which is 3. Okay, take your time on these. Okay, so let's do some from the worksheet. So take out the worksheet. Let's look at number 6. Now, do you see number 6 is just multiplying? What is a negative times a negative? And think of that as a -1 if you want. You could almost rewrite this as x times -1, x to the 5th, times -1, x to the 5th. So again, a -1 times a -1, and we don't even need to, it's not a power to a power. So I could write these out like this. Okay, and again, that X out front is also to the power of 1. So what is -1 times -1? That's just a positive 1. And then X to the power of 1 plus 5 plus 5 is X to the power of 11. Okay, tricky, tricky. Okay, now number 10, I'm going to rewrite this, A to the power of 1, B to the power of 1. Now, the only reason this is in parentheses is so I know I'm multiplying. So I'm just going to rewrite this like this. Now, the coefficient goes out front. Now, for the A's, how many A's do I have? 1 and 3, which is 4. And B's, how many B's? 1 and 2 are 3 B's. Okay. Okay. Now, down here, we don't even need, if you're good at not writing it out, just remember anywhere you see a variable or and not an exponent, that means 1. So we're going to start with -8 times -2, which is a positive 16. Okay, now look at M. We have M to the power of 1 plus 4 is M to the power of 5. And then T's, we have T to the 4th, T to the 1, T to the 3. So that gives me T to the 8th. 4 plus 1 is 5. Then plus 3 is 8. Okay, here we go. Now this one is -2 to the power of 3 times n to the power of 12. So what is -2 times -2 times -2? That's -8. If you put that on your calculator, you need parentheses. And that's your answer. Okay, let's do just a couple more. Okay, so I'm going to get this one out of the way for right now. Okay, so for this one, again, put it in parentheses. -2 to the power of 5, x to the power of, now we multiply 10, y to the power of 15, because this is power to a power. Now, if I want to put that -2 to the 5th power in parentheses, I'm going to use the caret button, but I'm going to use parentheses to get a -32, x to the 10th, y to the 15th. Okay, going to bring this one down next. So again, this is just one big multiplication problem. So how many K's do I have? Well, there's no power to a power, so I just add exponents. 1 plus 1 plus 8 is 10. And D is 8 plus, oops, oh, no, I did make a mistake. See, even I make mistakes. This has to distribute in. So this is K1 D8. Remember, this is K8 D8 because that has to go to both terms. And this is K to the 8th, D to the 1st, because there's no powers out here. So that's the only one I distribute. Okay, so now I have K to the 1 plus 8 is 17. And D to the 8 plus 1 is also 17. Be careful, even I make mistakes. Okay, now here we go. We're distributing -K to the power of 6, D to the power of 3, okay? And then we have -K squared, D to the 3rd. Okay, so that becomes -K to the 8th, D to the 6th. Are you doing that correctly? Okay, take your time. So finish the worksheet. We did a lot of those. And then take the little formative, please. Have a great day.